Well, Ovigwe Eguegu is a policy advisor at the African-led international consultancy Development Reimagined, and he joins us now live from Ankara. Welcome to the program. Tell us, what do you think Nigeria's government has learned in these 9 years since the kidnappings of the Chibok girls? Amnesty International says that the lack of accountability for crimes against children emboldens the impunity.
Yes, I think one of the most obvious lessons that the government has learned is how porous, security is, particularly around schools in northeast Nigeria, northwest Nigeria, and even the north central as well. Because after that kidnapping in 2014, there were several other kidnappings that even with even higher numbers that took place. For instance, in 2020 rather, December 2020. There were over 300 students, were kidnapped in Katsina, and that's the president's home state. Although they ended up being released, but it goes to show, the impunity at which these organizations or these groups operate, and that has been a major challenge for the government. What they've done so far is to try to provide more security, perimeter security around these schools. But because Nigeria is really under-policed and internal security is very fragile and weak, so they cannot really provide sufficient security for all of the government secondary schools in this very troubled region.
And is anything going to change with the new president? Because next month, Bola Tinubu, who's expected to succeed Muhammadu Buhari, will become president. Is he going to be any better at tackling these issues?
Yes, so of course, just like the other candidates in the election, he promised to do a lot with regards to national security, and one of the ways he's promising to do that is to boost the personnel in the military, get more soldiers and more boots on the ground, and also to strengthen internal security forces like the Nigerian police. However, it remains to be seen how he's going to execute on those policy initiatives, because, for instance, we know that the Nigerian government is really overburdened in terms of salaries of staff of the security agencies, and the budgetary concerns are there. The ability to train these people and get them ready to do exactly what needs to be done is also a very crucial question. And as well, even the coordination between the internal security apparatus. So there are many questions that he has to answer, other than the promise, or for the promise to become a reality. But there's expectation that he would want to do that, because the vice president-elect is from Borno State, which is ground zero for these attacks and Boko Haram insurgency. So hoping that there's contextual knowledge that he can bring to the administration.
Okay, that important point there, the contextual knowledge that the new president-elect can bring. And how many of the kidnappings that are still happening, and of course it's always described as a business now in Nigeria, how many of them are linked to Boko Haram?
Yes, so usually you would see that when the kidnappings take place in Northeast, maybe in Yobe State, in Borno State, there's the tendency to really characterize those as Boko Haram, although not all of them, not all the time does Boko Haram come out to claim the responsibility for the kidnappings. But when we see those same kidnappings take place in the North Central and the Northwest, like Katsina State, and Zamfara, that is seen more to be by bandits. So, and these bandits are actually belligerent groups. They are non-ideological. This is pure kidnapping for ransom, and driven purely by monetary gains. And they were the ones that really built up on the Boko Haram kidnapping of the Chibok, which was classic. Boko Haram attack has become very symbolic of the various kidnappings that have taken place. Now we see more of those kidnapping for ransom by these belligerent groups rather than the Boko Haram kidnappings.
Thank you so much for your excellent analysis. That was Ovigwe Eguegu speaking to us from Development Reimagined, live there from Ankara. Really appreciate it. Thank you.